Tulsa, trailing 21-14. Davis Brin, he's the third stringer.
It's the last play of the game.
It is the last play of the game, Steve.
Knock it down.
Nope, that's Juan Carlos Santana. And heavens to Betsy, they have scored and forced overtime. They have come back time and time again, and Tulane, sadly, has had some big leads slip through their fingers. Oh. And in Tulsa, you get to wear that fancy hat.
Woody's got that hat.
I know, that's right. After both teams kick field goals in overtime, Zaven Collins. This guy can really play, and he can really run.
That's 6'4", 260 running right there.
And that's if you had +5.
That's a bad
See you Monday night.
There's so much extra. This is very extra, what went on here. But it's a hell of a win for Tulsa, who comes roaring back. It was 0-0 at halftime, by the way. There's just a lot that was going on.
14-0 in the fourth, Scott.
It was Tulane. All right, first place on the line, NFC West Cardinals visiting the Seahawks. Each team 6-3. Arizona beat them on Sunday Night Football in overtime. First drive, Seattle. You can't give this guy this much time. He's going to find somebody, and that somebody's DK Metcalf. I'm going to say, whatever the next-gen stats say, I'm going to tell you 6.5 seconds is too long to let Russell Wilson run around. He has 28 passing touchdowns on dropbacks of 4 or more seconds, most in the NFL, as we suspected. This was the story early on. Kyler Murray, under duress. This Seattle defense had been struggling on the struggle bus. Murray comes down hard on the shoulder and was getting worked out on the sidelines, kept grimacing, but would work through it. What a throw, what a catch. Tight end, Steve.
Dude.
Max Williams, 2 X's. Picks it up, and then Kenyon Drake. Ball.
Rule the fumble, Scott.
What are we doing?
What are we looking at?
The man, he's in.
Right there.
Clearly.
Touchdown.
That's a touchdown by rule. 7-7. Tyler Lockett.
Double move.
He had like 9,000 catches against Arizona in the first game. Actually, it was 15 for 200. Here, a little double move, and Patrick Peterson loses him. Seahawks would miss the extra point, 13-7. 20 seconds left in the half. Seattle, they'll go the length of the field on you, man, in a blink. And here, Metcalf, Peterson, I thought it was good coverage, but then I saw the tug when we saw it in slow motion. That's PI. 11 seconds left. Wilson steps up. Metcalf. Steve, you called it. What happened?
Hit him in his pacifier.
Hit him in the teeth.
Yeah.
You need to squeeze that one, 1-4. Seahawks have to kick a field goal at 16-7, third quarter. Murray largely bottled up in the first half. That won't continue for long. Nuke here behind him. And Quandre Diggs called for unnecessary roughness, and that kept the drive alive. First and goal. Mary, present. Dan Arnold, touchdown. 16-14. Ensuing drive on 3rd and 7. Wilson, Lockett. Cardinal defense flying to the ball. There's a scrum afterwards. Drake Kirkpatrick throws a punch and gets called for a 15-yard penalty. You had him off the field and you punched the guy. Can't do that. Carlos Hyde punches it in. 23-14. Same score. Murray. This is as open as a human can be.
Yeah.
Chase Edmonds by himself.
That nuke in the backfield on that one. Great draw.
And it's now 23-21. Cardinals get the ball backed up against the shadow of the goalpost there. Murray looking for Hopkins, but we have holding on J.R. Sweezy in the end zone.
Play before he got grounding, which backed him up.
25-21 your score. Seahawks drove down, were held to a field goal, so Cardinals driving late, trying to tie it. Murray looking for Fitz. Incomplete. 3rd and 10. Murray.
Went for it.
Pressured, looking for Andy Isabella. And there are 2 men arriving the same time the ball does, and it's Reed knocking it away. And that sets up 4th down and 10. Seattle rushes 3. And one of them gets home, and it's the new guy in town. Carlos Dunlap came over in the trade from Cincinnati, and Seattle hangs on to win to move back ahead in the NFC West at 7-3. It's Wilson's 93rd victory in his career, which passes Peyton Manning for the most wins by a starting quarterback in his first 9 seasons in NFL history. On the Arizona sideline, they're talking about what went wrong.
Yeah, I think just offensively as a whole, the penalties and continuing to move backwards just threw us off our rhythm. So we didn't have a lot of snaps and didn't have a lot of opportunities more than anything.
It wasn't a clean game by any means. Easier said than done to play those, but that's just got to be better. Say it every week, try to give ourselves the best possible chance to win the game, and that doesn't help you.
Damien Woody here for his weekly visit. And Damien, when a defense is struggling the way Seattle's is, you're rushing 3, and you can get down a guy in Murray to end the game for that defense to be able to say, we held up our end of the deal. How big?
Well, this defense has been in witness protection program the whole season.
Awful.
Basically, they've been awful, quite frankly. And this is a prideful team, prideful unit. They've been kind of the standard bearer for the Seattle Seahawks for many years. All of that stuff, right. And for them to make that type of play, for them to have this type of game, I feel like they needed something like this, because there's no way that the Seattle, as well as Russell Wilson has played in this offense, you can't be this lopsided on one side of the ball and expect to go places that the Seattle Seahawks want to go, and that's to the Super Bowl. So they needed a signature game like this for their defense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at last week against, say, Buffalo, and or 2 weeks ago, I should say, against Buffalo, and it's like you're giving up in the 40s, man. Russ can only cook so much, right? And so they get the sack of Murray. I'm interested in what you saw on the Arizona side, because this is a team that I think you can see growing. They've already beaten Seattle once, and they have a drive to try to tie the game late. They get stopped. Where can they tighten things up that you noticed in this game if they want to continue to evolve?
Well, one area that's been a bugaboo for them all year is penalties.
Yeah.
I think they're second in the league as far as penalties, and that if you're a team that has that many penalties, you're
113 yards, I think
undisciplined. And listen, we see the potential on both sides of the ball. As much as we talk about Kyler Murray and that offense and the running game, and obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, they're very good on defense. But when you have the amount of penalties that they have week in and week out, those are the killers that ultimately will cost you, particularly this game and moving forward.
And I hesitate to ever use the term, because we know in the NFL, moral victory, no such thing. But leaving there, having already beaten them once, not that they're not satisfied, I'm not saying with the outcome, but are there things about this game that Arizona can still look at and say, if we tighten up A and B, we're perhaps the class of the West? Can they convince themselves of any of that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got a young stud in Kyler Murray who's going toe-to-toe with Russell Wilson.
Okay.
And again, I think the Arizona Cardinals are the more balanced team between the two ball clubs. Again, clean up the penalties. If you're the Arizona Cardinals, you're a game behind the Seattle Seahawks right now. There's plenty of season to go to really regain this lead in the NFC West.
Now, this was one of a number of games this weekend that are compelling from the standpoint of teams over 500, 6-3, 6-3 type games, and we got 3 of those to talk about a little bit later. I look forward to doing that, all right?